Sports Limelight, episode 20.
Wow.
Good evening, Drew.
Good evening, Bill. Congratulations to us for 20 episodes.
There's not an anniversary for 20, is there?
I don't think so. I think there's a gift you give, but I don't know if it signifies a name or anything.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
wood or like paper or something.
Yeah, we've got to wait till 25 to get the silver anniversary.
Silver, yeah, that's right.
Like the Giants-Bills Super Bowl 25.
That was awesome.
Super Bowl 20 was Bears-Patriots. Maybe that can be our new thing, is like each show we lead off, with the number, we give you some information on that numbered Super Bowl.
All right. So we have, 26 more episodes?
Do we have that many left in us? We'll see.
That's right.
Well, this is about as newsy as it gets for an NFL offseason.
Right.
Peyton Manning is a free agent. Who would have thought that a year ago, that one of the best quarterbacks of the era would just be, available, sign with anyone. No draft pick compensation or anything.
Well, it's a very peculiar time for him, with his injury, and he's been in the league for, 14 years now?
He was the first pick in 1998.
Okay. Yeah, so the Colts have pretty much the same scenario this year. They had the first pick in the draft.
Good year to have it.
Yeah, Mr. Luck.
Especially considering what the Redskins gave up to get the second pick.
Right.
That shows you what kind of value Andrew Luck will have. What do you think of that Redskins trade, by the way?
Should be a good move. See what Dan Snyder does with the rest of the team, but it's if anyone can bring that team back, it's going to be Robert Griffin III.
So we've got Manning, Redskins.
Yeah, he was in town. Manning was in town this week, right?
He was here. Yeah, sadly we did not run into him. And we have Saints Bounty Gate. By now it's been pretty dissected as much as possible.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a strong opinion on that, did you?
No, I'm sure it happens everywhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
More than we care to think.
It could be one of these things that the NFL just wants it to go away now, so they'll punish the Saints and then not really want to know what else happened.
Right.
Before we do get into these topics and more, a couple quick things for you, Drew. Firstly, The Simpsons last night. Did you catch that episode?
I didn't.
Well, they happened to do an Inception parody only 2 years after the movie came out.
Oh, wow.
And I found this was curious because in our previous episode 19, we counted down our top 5 favorite TV shows of all time. Mm-hmm. And I said, it's now become South Park did it. The Simpsons are kind of becoming way behind on these things, whereas it used to be Simpsons did it. They were cutting edge. And little inside baseball, that episode, although we released it to YouTube on Monday, March 12th, it was recorded a couple weeks prior. And I promise you I didn't know that Simpsons Inception episode was coming.
Yeah, the South Park did it, within a year of the movie, correct?
Yeah, I looked it up. South Park did. The movie came out in the summer of 2010. Mm-hmm. South Park did their episode in October of 2010.
Oh, okay.
And Simpsons, just decided to do one in March of 2012. Great.
Nice, yeah. They must have ran out of ideas.
I think that happened a few years ago. So that, and I need to tell you something else. Have you ever cut your fingernail way too short, and you know it as you cut it, this is way too short, and it doesn't hurt yet, but oh boy, it's going to hurt the next day.
Oh, yeah.
And this is that next day for me. So playing hurt, still gutting it out.
You wouldn't be human if it didn't happen to you.
Well, so good to know I'm human. Now let's delve into these actual sports topics now. NFL free agency, your Buffalo Bills, Drew, made a big move re-signing Stevie Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had the money. They had the money to do it, so.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. They were among the teams with the most salary cap room.
Yeah. It's probably a gamble, but it's a gamble that they're willing to spend on, so.
It was. Now, I'm going to be a little critical of this.
Ooh, please do.
I think the problem is, even though they have it to spend now, the problem with tying up so much money in 2 players, because they gave Ryan Fitzpatrick a big extension as well, is when you sink that much money into 2 league average players, and that sounds like an insult calling someone average, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? He's probably between, if you were ranking all the quarterbacks, probably between the 12th to 20th best quarterback. That's right smack in the middle. That's league average.
Right.
Steve Johnson probably, since every team has 2 starting receivers, he's a little better than that then.
Yeah. Top 50, top 40.
I'd even say like top 25.
Okay.
So that much cap money into 2 players when you're building a team, when you're on the rise, we're seeing with the Giants, you just can't keep everybody. And they're losing guys that maybe they wouldn't want to lose. You could run into that problem in Buffalo pretty soon.
Yeah, they got 2 big eggs in their basket now. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
On the Giants side, I saw that Brandon Jacobs was let go.
Yeah, it's one of the unfortunate things of the salary cap. It's the best for both sides right now, but no regrets. Great era for Jacobs in Giants blue. It's a shame to see him go.
Do you see the Giants picking up a running back this draft? Or
in the draft, yes. Not in free agency.
Right.
The Giants' method is kind of getting running backs later. Ahmad Bradshaw was a 7th-round pick. Although he didn't play much in his rookie season this year, Darrell Scott was a 7th-round pick, and maybe he comes into play more next season.
Right.
But, they believe you can find running backs.
Yeah.
Serviceable, even like Bradshaw, a lot better than serviceable. Jacobs himself, I think, was a 3rd or 4th-round pick.
Does this mean that DJ Ware's stock will rise next season?
I think we've seen his ceiling. I don't expect much from him. I do think he'll still be on the roster.
Yeah, with those screens and draws.
Oh yeah, more quick screens to DJ Ware, Kevin Gilbride. They always work, and by always I mean I think once all season.
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, you said it. The draw plays too. The shotgun draw on 3rd and long.
Yeah.
But I can joke about that now happily because they won the Super Bowl. If they didn't, I'd be a little more angry with my tone towards those plays. But now it's lovable old Gilbride. He's done it again. But, we also said a couple weeks ago on this show, I predicted that Steve Weatherford, the punter, would be the number 1 priority for the Giants in free agency. Sure enough, they gave him the franchise tag. He's staying.
Oh, nice.
They'll continue to work on a long-term deal. Kareem McKenzie, as we thought, probably leaving.
Yeah.
Terrell Thomas,
yeah.
Not yet re-signed. That's a little troubling. I would have liked him to be back for kind of a low-risk, incentive-laden contract, maybe.
And you would think he would think the same thing with his injury he had last year. I think you want to show the teams what he can do.
Right, torn ACL along with Jonathan Goff, 2 guys who are still not signed by the Giants with free agency.
Yeah.
Breaking soon.
Now, how about my boy Chase Blackburn?
Oh, what does the great Mike Garafolo of the Star Ledger and NJ.com say about Chase Blackburn? He had a great write-up today of all the Giants' unrestricted free agents, kind of little blurbs on what's going on with each one. Chase Blackburn, word is they want him back to continue his comeback story, but given the team's cap situation, of course, it'll likely be for a minimum deal. Well, hopefully he'll accept that then.
Yeah.
Blackburn might have been at home until nearly December last season, but he closed the season strong and had an interception well downfield in the Super Bowl. And after learning last season how quickly a career can be put on hold, he's going to try cashing in on the free market.
Nice.
Well, yeah, a lot of these guys, it just depends on how much they can get elsewhere. I'd give it maybe a 10% chance tops, but maybe Brandon Jacobs doesn't find a big payday elsewhere, and maybe he comes back to the Giants for less after all. Kareem McKenzie, I'd give even less of a chance than Jacobs for that happening. And, of course, Manningham, the least chance of all. He is going to get paid.
Now to the other Manning brother, Mr. Peyton.
Oh, there is another one, isn't there?
There is, yeah. He's only got 1 ring. Bill, I've heard the Cardinals and the Broncos are his 2 big teams. What do you see happening?
The Broncos really came out of nowhere, at least compared to like 2 weeks ago when it seemed to be Dolphins. Who was the other team?
I think Redskins were in there.
Oh, yeah,
before they
Dolphins,
traded up.
Redskins, Cardinals. It seemed to be the front runners. Even the Jets were in there for a while, but Manning wasn't really interested, and the Jets responded by giving Mark Sanchez a big extension. So.
Yeah, I mean, Eli and Peyton have already shared rooms. They don't need to share cities.
If it's between Denver and Arizona, I am more seeing Arizona, which is shocking. But considering Eli Manning, the whole thing on draft day with him was ownership was really important to the Manning family. He didn't want to play for San Diego. He wanted to play for the Giants. Play for the Maras and Ernie Accorsi, the GM at the time.
Right.
Really solid organization. Now you have Peyton Manning, a free agent, possibly going to the Cardinals to play for the Bidwells,
Wow.
kind of known as the worst owners in the league.
I agree. Now, I'm not sure how much Bill is involved, but I know his son or grandson Michael is really spearheading this free agency thing. So
Yeah, apparently they're trying to kind of change the way they do things there
Right,
in this new era. They're becoming different from when they made Vi Sekahema buy his own socks.
Oh man. So if you're Tim Tebow, what do you make of all this?
Ooh, it's been known that Elway is not a big Tebow fan.
Uh-huh.
Denver might be looking at this as the one way to kind of get out of Tebow mania without a fan revolt, because Peyton Manning, how can you argue with that? So
Right,
maybe
exactly.
Elway really wants Manning there. If one of Manning's criteria was not a cold weather team, then Denver's out right there, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder how heavily weighted is that compared to like which conference or which division,
Right.
ownership, of course.
The thing that might lean Peyton one way or the other is I would think he would play for the Broncos simply because it's the AFC. But yeah, how about Kevin Cobb? I mean, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, I would think. Well, I got a lot of money, but this organization is not very smart, so I'll take advantage of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess then you're Kevin Cobb. You don't really your opinion doesn't matter that much, right?
Right. I think the Cardinals will present a pretty fair and aggressive stance, their option to Peyton, but I think ultimately he will go to the Broncos.
Oh, so the Cardinals will be left with Cobb. Will they release him, or because he's guaranteed what a $7 million bonus if he's on the roster by a certain date?
Yeah.
That might be this week, even.
Yeah.
End of this week.
I think we'll find out this week what happens.
And finally, wrapping up the NFL talk, what'd you think of the Robert Griffin trade, Drew? Did the Redskins give up too much?
Well, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's probably the most athletically gifted quarterback coming out. But yeah, overall, they did give up too much.
3 first-round picks and 1 second-round pick. Pretty hefty price tag. It's unprecedented, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think just to move up 5 spots. I think they did give up way too much.
Yeah, 7th to 2nd.
Yeah, he's no Cam Newton.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Even if he is, could it still be considered worth that much?
Yeah.
Especially, and you just know if the Rams get one good player out of the picks that the Redskins give them, the Redskins will never live that down. Like,
Right.
even though the Eli Manning trade worked out better for the Giants, the other side will say, "Hey, well, Sean Merriman, oh yeah, he was good for 2 years and jacked up on steroids, but sure, just use Sean Merriman as why."
Yeah. Well, either way, I'm excited because with the Mannings and the Bradys kind of on their last dive of career, we got these new up-and-comers, so we could see some QB rivalries coming up.
We do. That's interesting. Sports Limelight, episode 20. Thank you for listening.
Coming